Yo, welcome everyone once again to the We Are Gamers series, a group of 1v1 question and answer sessions with fellow gamers just to let you know who these people are, learning to know about the people behind the gamer tag. Thank you once again for letting us share your space. It is a true pleasure to do so this day. Today's guest is none other than a man called PeonsGoZugZug, a name that I personally love because I know exactly where it comes from. And I just, every time I hear it, I want to follow it by saying, Strubel. Peons, welcome, my friend. Welcome.
Thanks, Syke. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, yes, we're honored to have you here. So, if you don't mind, just for the listeners, I love your name so much. If you don't mind, for the listeners, just if you can just give us your first name, please.
Sure. Zach.
Zach. Zach. I think I knew that, and I'm not sure if I did. Sometimes I learned a few people's first names for the first time during this interview, which is always good to learn learn things about your gaming buddies.
Yeah, I
S-
mean, it's always good.
Yeah. So Peons Go Zug Zug. I know you also have a Twitch channel that you do your coaching with, and when you game. So do you have any other online game names that you use, or maybe even a series of names that you use when you play online games?
Um, Not really. I mean, like, I pretty much name most of my characters the same,
Hmm.
even on WoW or Dota and stuff. If I do have like too many accounts, like let's say League, I
Hmm.
just kind of name them after some anime characters or something.
Oh, nice! Like your alts and stuff. You just
Yeah.
I got you. So peons go zugzag. I know where that comes from specifically. And is that your primary game name or
Yes. So I started out getting it when I started playing Dota,
Mhm.
the original Dota. Basically, before that, it was kind of like I was still in my like teens, where it was just like changing the name to what was hot, whether it was like Batman came out or Star
Hmm.
Wars came out, and it'd be characters over that.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of settled down after Dota for a permanent name because the
Mm.
ladder board that they had went off of your account name.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So having more than one account name will kind of skew that. So it
Yeah, so it was like you people only made it because they felt like they were the classic like I'm only stuck at this elo because of the players, and then they'd
Mhm.
make 20 accounts, but they would still be at the same amount of points.
That's interesting. So, does that name specifically have a special meaning for you to have that you chose that name in particular? What was it
Uh,
that made you choose that name?
yeah, so honestly, I chose the name. Like I thought about it for a little bit, and
Mhm.
I was thinking about like some of the first games I played, and one of the very first games I started out with on the PC was actual Warcraft. Uh,
Warcraft
and
1.
yeah, Warcraft 1.
Nice. You have to
So that was like the
manually
biggest game
nice. You have to
because I think
manually
around
input
that time
everything.
Diablo was out. Just the original
Mm.
Diablo was pretty
Mhm.
highly played
Mhm.
during
Mhm.
that time, and I think D2 came. I forget if it was after Warcraft 2 or not, but during that time, that was like when I first started getting into online gaming and watching my dad play like Doom online and Quake and stuff. And I played Warcraft 2 online, but
Mm.
I they changed it because Peons used to go Zug in the original Warcraft, and then Grunts did it from the Warcraft 2 on up. So
Yeah.
like you would really have to go back and know that it was
Mhm.
the original Warcraft.
Mhm. Mhm. That's why I go Struble. They're like, "What you want?" All right. Okay. Yeah, I love Warcraft was one of the for me that's a special game because that's one of the first PC game that was one of the first PC gamers I got into that I actually played online, with the DSL, with the phone cable and everything. That's awesome. So, if you don't mind, this question is always tricky because it's about your age. I'm going to ask
Okay.
you your age. If you don't want to state your age, it's understandable. You can give the bracket. A few people have done that, which is fair. I understand. So how old are you and when did you actually start gaming?
Well, I'm 37 in December,
Mm,
and I started gaming when I was 4 with the original Nintendo.
nice. Do you remember what game you started with?
The game I started with was Super Mario Brothers,
Mm. Wow,
and
the original.
the original.
Yeah.
And the next game that I played was on there the most was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice. That game was great. Hard though. That was a very hard game though to actually finish. But that was an
Yeah.
awesome game. Yeah. Nice. So what was it about video games specifically that drew you per se to actually like what was the draw for you to play them?
So at first it was like I wasn't into like I enjoyed it because my brother would play with me.
Mm.
Um and we played a lot of co-op with like Ninja Turtles and we would take turns with Mario Brothers.
Nice.
Um but like I think it wasn't until later on in life that I kind of realized that I really enjoyed gaming
Mm.
for the uh, partnership and team play because like down under I was very introvert back in the day, but I
No.
always wanted to be part of a team and lead. I just wasn't like confident in myself to really bring it out, so like games
Really?
helped like do that because no one sees you on the other side. Like I want to play football and stuff, but I was
Mm-hmm.
always like the 80-pound person that's like, dude, everyone's double my size, so I couldn't compete in that level, and I wasn't like I was decent, but I wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
fast. So, but games, you don't have to worry about like that
Mm-hmm.
size, age, and everything as long as you have whatever technique they're looking for, whether it's fastest hands or just problem solving. You can be at a pretty high level.
Mm. That's interesting. That's very interesting actually. So you started gaming and how was your family's reaction when you started gaming? Because I know this question for some people the family's reaction was nonchalant, they didn't care. Others I know, especially from Hispanic backgrounds, it gets a little more the reactions are different. But how was your family's reaction when you started gaming?
So I think it kind of came in like two phases or three. So at
Mm,
first, I think it was more of a way in my younger years to like keep us distracted. Like now you have like iPads and stuff, but
mm,
like I would go outside and I love going outside, but it's a way like my mom's like, okay, it's raining, so how do I keep them distracted? And we didn't really have like cable TV, it was just the local networks. So
right.
that just helped out a lot where it was just like, keep us distracted. And then the
Hmm.
other part, I think in the mid, when I was a teenager, I think
Yeah.
like on my mom's side, she was kind of like, I feel like you're playing too much. Because again, it comes back to that introvert where I was like, I
Mm,
couldn't really like compete at a different level that I wanted to because I'm very
mm,
competitive,
hmm.
but I could inside. But that's when Counter Strike was huge, and I spent like hours upon hours. And then I
Hmm.
think in the end, after like towards my senior year,
Yeah.
like especially I think it's more my mom again that's like she's kind of let go of it. She was like, "This is who I am," and she loves games too, like board games, and like we get crazy with Wii. And on my
Nice.
dad's side, my dad always loved playing games, so he would always play like Mortal Kombat with me, Madden,
Oh, that's
Rock
cool.
Band is really big.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you talked about your family and stuff like that. So if you don't mind, just letting us know what's your heritage? Where are you from in your cultural background, please?
So on my dad's side, it's Hispanic, and my mom's side is German.
Mm,
So my dad's side is a lot of like rock band things that you could play a lot more bigger groups in because we're all drinking, getting all crazy. So rock bands is
mhm.
a great way to go crazy.
Yes.
My mom's side's a little more conservative and not the more like I'm gonna have some nice food and maybe a wine and stuff, but she's
Mm,
going crazy on some tennis, some bowling with Wii Sports and stuff, or something that is like um, still interactive, but maybe not as like wild and crazy.
that's interesting. So the whole family used to play together then, right? Is
Yes.
it?
So my parents divorced, but when I was
Mm,
younger,
mm,
but they always like, yeah, they always play games with us. So it was just one of those things that has always been in the on either side.
right, right. Wow, that's cool. So, I mean, considering your culture, how you just explained it, has there been really any positive or negative effect that your culture has had on your personal gaming experience?
Um, I think it's given a positive because I think it's always shown that being together, whether you're working together or you could be mad at someone and
Mhm,
like just like opening up with a game could be all
mhm.
it takes to just like break the ice. People always have like arguments and things, and I think like games kind of remind you that everyone's a person and everyone just wants to have fun in the end.
Mhm,
But you also need to have those boundaries, and it sucks when parents or something doesn't go your way and you feel like you're getting punished, but in the end, it's just their way of like saying, "Hey, we have to have rules and boundaries, but we're gonna have fun too."
mm, mhm, mhm, mhm. I mean, what kid likes being told, "No, you can't play video games," especially after, you've done something that they
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
agree with. I mean, look, when I was a child, I never understood it. Now I'm a father. I'm like, yeah, I kind of, and there's times I actually feel bad doing it because I want them, because I get what you're saying. I want them to play the games, but at the same time, I'm also, having to throw down some discipline and saying, hey,
Right.
yeah, you did this, that wasn't right. So guess what? We gotta enact a little discipline. So let me go on to this next question. So now, so you still play games now? I mean, I know this because, you know, we were in a game literally a few days ago, and we did play together. And then there's I believe you do still, you used to coach, correct? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
somebody mentioned platinum, but I know you're definitely a higher level than that for League of Legends. And so you still do the coaching now and play video games. So why do you still play the video games now?
So I really play because, like I said, I really drive for competition first of all, and second, I like uh the camaraderie of like working as a team. So I
Mm,
play a lot of more team oriented things like uh WoW or like
mhm,
MMOs and like
mhm,
League. But
mhm,
I really like I said, it's just a good group to like relax in where I've always felt in the gamer world, you're not really judged because no one really sees you or knows you. They only know you for who you are on the inside and how you are.
yeah.
And sometimes it's hard, especially nowadays, that people just kind of judge you just by how you look and how they perceive that you
Mm,
should be. And in games, I don't get that. So like a lot of people, especially at work, don't even know that I'm Hispanic until I let them know. They just look at me like, "Wow, you're as white as can be." But my brother and my dad, you'd be like, "Holy moly!" So like like there's those stereotypes that just kind of go
mhm,
around that
mhm,
you in games you just get away from, and you just have fun. And when you learn about people and stuff, like it's a great experience because you just get to open up, and you don't have to be like, wow,
mhm,
I was judged just off of looks alone.
mm, That's an interesting point. I've actually not heard that point actually spoken about, which is interesting. But it is a good point because as gamers, that is the truth though. When we go into a game, we don't care who we're playing with. There is no, oh, are you a dude? Are you a girl? Are you, we don't care if you're white, black, Hispanic. You're For us, we want to have fun with a buddy of ours. Like me hearing about you being Hispanic, though, honestly, I didn't believe that either. Because I mean, I've heard your voice, which is funny, and then you're half Spanish and half German, right? Is
Yeah,
from what you're telling me, which is that's actually pretty interesting to learn about. And even I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I didn't think you were half and half, but none of that even mattered when we were gaming. When we were playing a game, you get what I'm saying?
exactly.
We never cared what you were. You know what I mean? You were just a person that was our buddy that we enjoyed playing a game with. Now, granted, you are good at the games that you do play, which we also enjoy. You know, who doesn't enjoy a good carry from time to time? But on the same level though, we don't we're not judging you, the person, which in video games is such a it's such it's almost like not polarizing, but you get that at arcade games too. People playing a four-player arcade game, they don't care who's there with them. They're all putting their quarter into the machine, and they
Yeah,
all have the same objective.
I'm sure we all did like a Chuck E. Cheese or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And like one of my favorite games was the X-Men game. And literally you want as many
Oh
people
my
on those
goodness.
joysticks as possible.
You gave me goosebumps. You're actually another person I know. I believe it was Avante. We had him on our earlier podcast, and that was actually one of his favorite games, just
Oh,
because it was so good. Yeah, the arcade game. He was a Colossus fan on that game. He
oh, nice.
loved.
I was a big Gambit fan. So,
Really? Nice.
yep.
Yeah, I was a fan of Colossus too. He would do the ultimate where he would just shoot like a power wave outside of his body and it would take up like the whole screen. But everyone was playing the game for the same reason. There was no political agenda. There was no ideology that had to be shared. It was just we need to beat these guys to get to Magneto so we could beat Magneto and get to the end credits, right? That was it. That was
It was. And the funny part about that is like it's like complete opposite. It felt so bad when you almost wanted to give them one of your coins sometimes when you're getting
yeah.
so close to the end and you're kind of like, I
We
want to
can
say,
do
okay,
it.
I might die here,
Right.
but I really need you and we really need your power and like stay in the game, please. Get your mom to get you some more coins. Go get your
Yes,
dad. Come
yes,
back.
yes, yes. I've had that experience with the Ninja Turtles arcade game. I
Okay.
remember we were so close. We were up to, I think it was Shredder, and this
Oh,
one guy was done. We were like, "No, come on, man! Somebody have a quarter quick!" And then somebody just busted up, just put it in the machine. He pressed start, and we just kept going. It was just, and it feels so good though, man. It just feels so good. That's great. So that actually will lead up into this next question. These are great answers, by the way. It's so good getting to know you, Peons. So, what's your number one favorite video game of all time? Like the number one that you can actually say you can play this game anytime. It always feels good to play. You can just there is no hesitation if it's available for you. What game would that be?
um, I honestly would say it's a league. So I just enjoy the game. Even if I hate parts of it sometimes with meta changes that don't really favor me or anything, I like it because they kind of like do a good job of keeping up to date. I mean, I literally played Dota until League came out in season one, and halfway I changed over because a lot of my
Mm,
friends were starting to play it. But
mm.
I've literally played the same game for as long as I could think
Wow.
about.
Wow.
So
So league is definitely your passion, and you do coach. I know I've been bringing it up, and I've been making jokes because of the
yeah.
the platinum comment, which that was an interesting moment.
Yeah,
But
so it's funny because like I am plat right now and like I'm
mm,
working back to diamond and maybe I'll try to hit masters again. But yeah, so I coached a lot of people for free and usually when I stream and I'm trying to get back into it
mm,
eventually, but
mhm,
um hopefully this fall is I just teach for free and work off tips because again like as much as I'm very competitive, I'm also I like to be a great teacher and
mm,
a great like share the experience with people. It might not be
mhm,
the the challenger or pro play teaching perfection, but it's
mm,
a level that at a diamond level that I pretty much am at and almost a master at one point in
mhm,
time. Like I still have all the knowledge that you can't gain. And I think like a lot of people sometimes when they're new, young, they just look at you like, oh, you're just washed up, you haven't been doing this. But in the end, like if you were to
mm,
challenge me and like climb the ladder, they're still at
mhm.
gold or or
Mhm.
bronze, and they're wondering and just blaming teammates rather than just being like, hey,
Mm.
I've learned to play that way myself, but I've also learned to finally look at my own play only and just say, I didn't
Mhm.
make the best play. That's the point of a 5v5 game, is that sometimes you can solo carry, and sometimes it was just a team failure overall for making a mistake. But you can't always
Right.
just say like, "Oh, it was the jungler or that 0 and 10 top lane," because everyone has the 1 and 0 top lane or mid lane in their game. So it doesn't matter in the end. It's how many mistakes did you make, and can you
Right.
better
Right.
yourself? So
Right. And I have been that person that has been 0 and 10 many times, and I can honestly say that when we play with you, I know with the group that we're a part of, we listen to a lot of your experience, but we've also learned to, I guess, I don't want to say hold back, because that that's an interesting dynamic, because as a gamer, who really wants to be told, "Oh, you should do this instead of this," And it takes, I guess, a certain level of maturity to get to that point, because you think you're the best, and the reality is there's always someone better. And until that reality becomes real to you, and you understand you can always improve, and this is just in everything. This isn't just in gaming.
oh yeah.
That's the wild thing. This is a concept for life itself, and video games is just the medium and platform that we use, our hobby, our passion. And I totally agree with what you're saying, that it's not about blaming other people, which sometimes happens. I mean, I'm a gamer. I've done it. I've done it plenty of times. Oh, this person is bad, but then I look back. What could I have done? What could I have done differently? That whole retrospect, and that comes with time. And you've been a big help with helping me personally. I really want to say, I want to shout you out, because you've done this for me personally. You've actually been the one to teach me how to examine my own play style. Examine what I'm good at, examine the mistakes. Oh, you didn't do this. Why did and then you ask, you usually go into why did you do that? You know what I mean? Then you're like, see, you did this wrong. Yes, I'm giving you a shameless plug, just take it for what it is.
I
Cuz
think the biggest thing, like, is, like, it transfers to life. So,
mm,
like, right now, I'm working at
absolutely.
trying to move up the ladder
Mhm.
and actually be a higher than supervisor and be, like,
Mm,
a big director overall, and, like, I take lessons from people above me on how to
mm,
be a better
mm,
leader, and
mhm,
a lot of them, 'em, they're like, "Where did you, like, learn your stuff?" And, like, I was
mm,
like, "Oh, I'm just kind of self-taught."
mhm,
But in a way, like, the gaming community has built me that way because, like you
mm,
said, I might not always be right in
mhm,
my direction, and that's how
mhm.
life is. But people follow you, and when you fail, you have to learn to rebound
Right.
and accept that it's your failure. Like, if I had made a Baron call and we failed and we died, like,
Right.
yes, it's easy to just say, "I told you, peons, that was the stupidest decision." And it's like, okay, maybe it was,
Mm,
but maybe I also was
mhm,
like trying to also push people and
mm,
challenge them. Like, not always be scared. Like, yes, it's always going to be close, but there's
mhm,
nothing
mhm,
better when you're watching that pro game
mm,
and you're just like, "Oh my god, it's nail biting. You don't know if it's going to get stolen. It's going to be
mhm,
a big play. Is it going to
mhm,
be an ace?" And th- that is like the experience and the thrill and the joy of life.
mm,
And it's the same thing in the work set
mhm.
where you make the same calls when you're a leader. And sometimes people are like, "Yeah, that was great. We love you." And other times they're like, "That was the worst decision." But at least you took a stand and you made a chance to do
Yes.
something. And I think it's also like, if you ever seen like the Hamilton play,
Mm,
I think, like, that teaches a lot too of like how Burr just never got anywhere. He like made it up there, but in the
mhm,
end he
mhm,
never like shared his views and just kept to himself and was just really selfish, and in the end he didn't
mm,
get what he wanted. And I think a lot of people like fail to like see that, and I think gaming brings that out because you're willing to take more chances because, again, you don't have that face that everyone sees. So
right,
they're just going off of your words and your play, and
right,
it's easy to just fall back. Like, when you take like the hits of like this, it's easier just to fall back
Yeah.
and not worry about it. Where at work you have to face them face to face, and that's like a reality for people. Is like that's harder to do. So that's why people don't take as many chances, and you have these
Mm.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
just bad leaders because people aren't willing to share their experiences with in games. Most people don't even care. They're like, "Yeah, try to do better than me. I perfected this, and
Mm.
I'll even tell you how I did, and you still can't be better." And it's like a challenge. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
that internal that they're willing to do on the
Mm.
in the gaming world, but not willing to do the same thing on the outside, which is kind of weird to me in that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, it's also easier I can't say this word. Anonymity I can't say this
Anonymous.
an, anonymity. Oh my lord. People are going to make fun of me for this. Being anonymous online. It's exactly like you said. There's no face. There's no I get sometimes there's not even real consequence. I know there was at one point in the gaming community, especially I would like to say maybe 20 years ago, there was a game I used to play. It was called Jumpgate. It was an old MMO where it was a space flight sim. It was a first person space flight sim MMO. Really old. If you're listening to this, just Google Jumpgate MMO. You'll see it's very old, old graphics, unforgettable gameplay though. But one thing, the community was small and everyone knew each other. So if you were a jerk, people didn't want to play with you. People didn't want to have anything to do with you. And if you were a bad player, but you were, I guess, more approachable and easier to hang out with, there was a healthy medium. They were like, "Oh yeah, psych, me. I used to fly these huge bomber planes that were like the worst planes in the game, but I kind of knew how to fly them in a way that nobody else would fly them, thinking out the box meta. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I wasn't a jerk about things. You know what I mean? I wasn't, oh, you just got blown away because I dabbled in the PvP aspect of that a lot. And yeah, a lot of these, like, especially like what you're saying, I kind of vibe with that because it's so translate into your real life experiences. Because yeah, like you said, taking the risks, just doing things in the right way. Okay, I just went off on a huge tangent. I'm so sorry. let
Oh no, it's
let
good.
let me rein this in. So we have a few more questions. We're winding down. So you did start talking about some gaming memories, with those epic Baron steals in League of Legends. I've seen some of those, and those are cool. So what is your one gaming memory, that one gaming moment of that you participated in or witnessed or saw that you will never ever forget?
Um, it was probably when I was like 5 years old,
Mm,
uh, and it was um, beating Shredder with my brother, little brother at that time, and
wow.
playing like a whole year and finally beating the game. Um, I think that was when both of us were at the happiest because our parents were together. We
Mm,
were so close and we did so much, and it was just so much teamwork and brotherhood that when you put in like 8 9 months of constant trying every weekend on a Saturday night,
yes.
like it just that is probably the best memory I have of gaming because it was like the first probably the first major accomplishment I felt
Mm,
in
mm.
my life was doing and then doing it with my brother.
Oh man, that's an awesome memory. Actually, that's an awesome, because that was getting to that point was hard, and then when you did it, it just felt so good to just
Oh
get it done. Yeah.
yeah, it did.
That's that's an awesome moment. That is an amazing moment. All right, so this next question, this will actually be our last question for the night, and it's more of a technical question. And I know you're really into IT, and this will be interesting for you since you've seen the evolution of technology. You started on Nintendo, and I know personally that you've got into PC gaming. League is actually only on PC right now, even though they have an offshoot on phones, but for the most part, the things you talked about, WoW, games like that, the original Warcraft, I know, was only PC. So, how do you feel that the evolution of technology has really impacted, your actual gaming experience? Has it been positive? Has it been negative? Just the way technology has evolved. How has that affected you as a gamer?
I think it's been very positive. I think like no matter what, uh, I feel technology just kind of brings
Mm,
uh, how can I word this? Like it brings stuff more alive. So I
mm,
think like for a person like me, I don't really read a lot,
mhm,
and like I do have a good imagination, but it's like you can really show things. So like I really like storytelling, and that's why I'm always big in games, especially Final Fantasy. Back in the
mm,
day, like Final Fantasy was always ahead of its time
mm,
when it came to those cinematic trailers
mm,
and in-game play. Like Final Fantasy VII is one that I remember that you were just like, oh
hmm,
my god, look at Midgard and how
right.
you're running through it, and you're just
Yeah.
like amazed by the technology and graphics. And then Blizzard came out, and you were like, oh my god, these guys just destroy how
Yeah.
gaming is because you could just put in storytell with it. And I'm a
Mm,
big
mm,
storyteller, and I think with technology, it's helped it out because the games that you look like that don't really work out,
yeah.
it's not because technologies failed them. It's
Mhm,
either
mhm,
because they took too many chances and the technology just wasn't there yet,
mm.
whether it was like Game Boy Red or whatever, the virtual that you were just like blinded after like 5 minutes.
The Virtual Boy. Yeah, I
or,
remember that.
or you even go to like games like now, like that 2077 or whatever game,
Mm,
cyberpunk game, that you're
mhm.
just like, it had a cool idea and really is trying to go out, but it like the technology just wasn't there for it.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
So, like, I think it's always been positive because like it just advances storytelling and gives you like a new way to look at things, and I've
Mm,
always enjoyed it. So as long as I think more important is the story and how you tell it and use that to your
mhm,
advantage will always bring it things. I think you can always even go back to like Jurassic Park by just even saying that movie today looks so damn good because of how they use the technology correctly.
mhm, mhm, mhm. I agree. I like those points. Those are very good points. Well, thank you, Peons. Peons go Zug Zug. An amazing gamer, an amazing person, and an amazing coach, by the way. Thank you so much for joining us this night. This has been a wonderful, wonderful exchange. I'm very glad we had it, even though there were a few hiccups along the way, but at the end, it all worked out very well. Thank you so much, everyone who tuned in to listen. Thank you for listening in on the series. I just want to let you know that you are awesome. Jesus loves you, and ganadora.